speaking here. It's another nice cold winter's day, and I'm here to show you how to install a reverse camera on your car. Pretty simple. It's just very lengthy because you have to pull apart a lot of trim, but it's very satisfying. I'll show you the tools and I'll show you the methods on how to do it. Let's get it. So just to add, this is pretty self-explanatory, but I have to say it out loud. If your car is not capable, if your radio is not capable of AV input, it's pointless to run this until you get a radio that can run a camera. So please don't come hollering at me and you do the install and you spend hours trying to pull apart trim when you find out you don't have a radio that's not compatible with the camera. Just have to put it out there. Okay, so first of all, you obviously need your reverse camera. You can buy these for like $100. Obviously your wiring that should come with the camera, and all that, your positive and negative, and then your AV, the visual. And because we're pulling apart the trim, you need your trim removal clip for your clips, and then plastic pry bar, screwdrivers, whatever you need. And because I've got wiring that do need to be crimped together, I will need side cutters and pliers. Just to add as well, because these have got to be joined together, you can solder them together to make them more solid. That's fine. I once again would rather just use terminals, so if I do have to pull it apart, I can. Makes it more serviceable that way. Yeah, but you are more than welcome to try and solder them. Please don't twist and tape. Just so it keeps your connections nice and reliable. Okay, so my game plan is I'm going to have the camera roughly sit somewhere in the middle here. Pull apart the trim on the inside. So one major one here, and then the loom, since the loom runs along here, I have to pull apart this side. I'm not sure if it's going to show on the camera, but yeah, we'll go through here and then through the roof, and then pull apart the quarter trim here. Hopefully feed it down all the way into the back of the seat. Run it along the footwells here, along the sill, and it come up. It'll come up here on the side trim. Hopefully run across and underneath and behind the radio, and that should all be straightforward. Okay, for the sake of explanation, it's come through the grommet here, and now I've got one end of the wire, and I've got to connect this end, so male end, to the female end, and then from there it'll have your AV. Which one would like to focus? It'll have your AV and your positive and negative, and then because it's gone through an SUV, they give you an extra length of wiring to run it up to your radio. So now it's just the lengthy bit of running all the wiring neatly all across into the tailgate, and then along the side trims, and then down to the radio. Okay, so this is a perfect example. Not everything always goes to plan, so you come up with a plan B. My original idea was to take off this center garnish so I could feed the loom through, but because of how fragile the clips are on the inside, I've opted to just release the light, the number plate light, and release that grommet there and fed the loom through there. What I've also done is, because since most cameras come with double-sided tape for it to stick onto, whether it's a rear bar or a tailgate, this camera didn't have it. So what I've opted to do, because my clearance to the number plate and the tailgate is very tight, what I'm going to do, and what I've done, is that I've wrapped insulating tape around the bracket of the camera so it doesn't scratch up the tailgate, and I guess it will give it extra tightness for when I put the number plate back on, and hopefully that's tight enough. If not, I'll just make a trip down to Bunnings and get some double-sided tape and it'll stay on that way. But just for now, so when I do adjust the camera and once it's all lit up and it's all working and stuff, just so it stays in place, and yeah, I can adjust it that way. So my AV cable's set up, the power cable's under there, it's all hooked up, so all I've got to do is hook it up to the radio, in case I do ever decide to change the camera to an infrared one. But for now, I'll run with this one. Now it's just a matter of finding power and then ground. I'm probably going to find ground and just ground it out here so it's less wire to travel. And as for the power, I'll probably run it to the radio and piggyback it off something that's constant. We'll go from there. Okay, so I'm going to run through it very quickly. So I've set up my camera here, put the wire through a grommet for the number plate light. As it will follow, I've already put the wire through, follow it along the original tailgate loom of the number plate light, which leads all the way down to, it follows along the frame here, which leads all the way down to the grommet. You'll start cussing and all this stuff because this is the most frustrating part of the whole install, to feed all three wires through this loom here, because to feed it through that little gap, it will always be frustrating. For some cars it'll always differ, but for this experience I was cussing a lot. That's why I'm trying to get through this now. So as it comes out, the power and ground, I've grounded it down here just so I don't have to do it towards the radio. My power cable is going towards the radio on a switched plug. I've also got my AV cable here, which I've also run the trigger wire, the reverse camera trigger wire to, up until here. Soldered it all the way down to the reverse light here. Okay, so as I'm feeding more wire over, instead of pulling apart trim, what my little trick is to do, I'm going to try and do this one-handed, I'm not sure if it's going to work, is try and pull this up and then over, and whatever I can feed in with my finger, I'll feed it in, like so. Again, this is very hard to do one-handed, and yeah, if not, just try and poke it under, and just feed it along, like so. This is a funny looking garage. And this is a last minute addition to the video because I forgot to record where I piggybacked off the back of the radio. It's not that hard. Just where my main 12-volt power ran all the way to the front along with my AV wire. I just piggybacked it off the red wire off your aftermarket radio. The only reason why I didn't record it because completely forgot to, and I was running out of daylight, and yeah, my bad. As we hit reverse, it now triggers the camera. Okay, so as far as adjusting the camera goes, I've just put it to the red mark here where my bumper shows. I can't have it sitting too low because where the camera sits is actually in the middle of the tailgate, so pointing it too far down won't show me much beyond like a meter or two. But yeah, that's how to install a reverse camera. Just finding your power wire and having it on switch power, grounding it, hooking up your AV cable, and also having your reverse trigger set up to your reverse light as well. In my case, I couldn't run an infrared light on the camera because that's not the camera that I've gotten. But I'm not too mad because the number plate lights are pretty bright themselves, so I'm not too fussed. But yeah, it's easy. It's an easy install. It's just time consuming because you have to pull out half your trims to run wires. And that tailgate loom, depending on what car you have, can be an absolute nightmare. But if you're patient and you do it properly, I promise you it's worthwhile doing. Anyways, I hope you liked the video. I hope it's been informative. Until next time. Peace.